DPI utilized federal funds specifically earmarked for improving services for special education students. Instead of providing additional tutoring for students or utilizing the latest technology, however, education leaders settled on a different objective: providing cultural sensitivity training for Wisconsin teachers and tackling the issue of what they refer to as white privilege.
Jerry Agar for Ezra Levant. You know why my life always goes so well? You know why I never have financial problems, marital issues, or the flu? 'Cause I'm a white guy. Well, that's what some people seem to think. The people behind the teaching of so-called white privilege live in an alternate universe of their own racist making, which would be one thing if they weren't teaching their brand of bigotry to children, but they are. Publisher of EAG News, the Education Action Group, a news service dedicated to education reform and school spending research, reporting, analysis, and commentary, joins me now. Kyle Olson, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you. Now, you have produced a documentary on this. We just saw a little clip of it. What are you trying to accomplish?
Well, what we're doing is looking at what is going on in schools and who is influencing our children. And so we came across this program. It's called Create Wisconsin. And what it's doing is it's teaching, it's training teachers on cultural sensitivity. Because the idea behind it all is that there's a racial disparity in student performance. And so instead of trying to increase tutoring or those sorts of things, the educrats in Wisconsin are saying, why don't we create this cultural sensitivity training for teachers? And to us, the fact of the matter is it's not going to do anything to improve educational outcomes for children.
No, well, there is a disparity in terms of how minority kids, in many cases, not all minorities, by the way, but how some minority kids don't do as well as white kids or maybe as well as Asian kids. But this seems like, let's just pretend that it's the fault of the people who are doing well.
Right. Well, and see what and our big concern with this is that they are saying, okay, here's a problem, which we agree there's a problem. At least the statistics bear out that there's a problem. But their solution is cultural Marxism. Their solution is redistribution of wealth. Their solution is that it's the white people's fault because they have this so-called privilege and that sort of thing. And so they're not actually dealing with the problem. What they're doing is they're casting blame, but the blame that they're casting is not actually going to fix anything.
Well, Kyle, let's take a look at a couple of things of sort of the mentality behind this. First of all, a tweet and bracelet. There is apparently a white privilege bracelet. Met my longtime internet friend. He consummated our friendship by giving me the white privilege bracelet off his wrist. That's an interesting way to characterize consummation of a relationship, but there's the bracelet. And now let's take a look at a comment from a very frustrated teacher. Here she is.
There is a school of thought that believes the only way to teach a student of color is to be a teacher of color. So there's that school of thought. Another one is that, you know, and I remember sitting in a meeting and being told that I need to own my whiteness and I need to own the fact that I have white privilege. And until I can own that and almost feel the embarrassment from it and the shame from it, only then can I start breaking, you know, down the walls and be able to teach my students of color and to reach out to them, which of course is absolutely absurd.
Well, this is a teacher who understands the situation. She understands that this, as you've been saying, Kyle, will not help people.
That's right. And she's frustrated. She's a great teacher, by the way, and she's frustrated because her colleagues are absolutely obsessed with race. And they want to put people in categories. They want to divide people by race. Again, they want to blame people because of their so-called privilege. And it's not going to do anything to help children. And so it's this culture of sensitivity is gripping schools, and it's not going to do anything to help children. But what it does is it provides paychecks to these consultants that do this sort of work. It provides paychecks for people in the bureaucracy, so they feel like they're doing something, and they can submit a report to the federal Department of Education and say, see, here's how we spent your money. But it's not going to do anything to improve outcomes for students.
I'm going to read you a quote from some of the material that is being presented to kids and to teachers. We are given a false sense of superiority, we being white people, a belief that we should be in control and in authority, and that people of color should be maids, servants, and gardeners, etc. This in a country where people elected a black president. And they say that we need to understand that minority kids frequently have a different value and view on time, missed days, working together, and wait time between questions and answers. They're basically saying minority people really don't have the concept of showing up to work on time, getting a school assignment done. That's a bigoted thing to say about minority people to start with.
That's exactly it. I mean, they want to have different expectations for people based on race. If there's not anything more racist than that, I don't know what there is. And it's absolutely absurd. And so this
I'm going to run out of time with you. I'm
is,
sorry, we're going to run out of time with you here, and I think we've made some good points, you and I, but you've got more information. Where can people find your expose?
You can find it at eagnews.org.
eagnews.org. Kyle, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Thank you very much.